Hola, soy Ana Cristina Olvera y les doy la bienvenida a este nuevo episodio de Iberoamérica en órbita. El lugar donde exploramos el fascinante mundo de la ciencia y la tecnología espacial que está transformando nuestro futuro. Este programa es posible gracias a la colaboración y las plataformas de nuestros socios de ATI. En el episodio de hoy viajamos más allá de los límites conocidos. Descubrimos cómo Honda ha desarrollado un cohete experimental reutilizable. Exploramos el trabajo de Matthew A. Mickens, científico de la NASA que cultiva alimentos en microgravedad para futuras misiones a la Luna y Marte. Y conversamos con Ken Ruffen, de la National Space Society, sobre cómo sus concursos de diseño de colonias espaciales inspiran a nuevas generaciones a soñar, aprender y construir el futuro más allá de nuestro planeta. Estás en Iberoamérica en órbita. Cuando hablamos de la compañía Honda, pensamos en autos confiables, motocicletas veloces y tecnología que ha transformado la movilidad en todo el mundo. Pero esta empresa japonesa, fundada en 1948 por Soichiro Honda, quiere ir más allá de las carreteras. Ahora incursiona en el espacio con un cohete experimental reutilizable, demostrando que su visión de futuro no tiene límites.
Honda realizó con éxito la prueba de un cohete experimental reutilizable. Así lo informó el segundo mayor fabricante de autos de Japón, que busca expandirse al sector aeroespacial. La empresa destacó que es la primera vez que aterriza un cohete, después de alcanzar una altura de casi 300 metros. El cohete fue lanzado en la isla norteña de Hokkaido y forma parte de los planes de la empresa por desarrollar la capacidad tecnológica para efectuar un lanzamiento suborbital para 2029. El prototipo de 6 metros de alto aterrizó a solo 37 centímetros de su punto designado, tras un vuelo de 11 minutos. Honda indicó que espera que en los próximos años crezca la demanda de cohetes para lanzar satélites, ante las expectativas de un sistema de datos en el espacio exterior. Y agregó que en el futuro, los cohetes podrán ser utilizados para instalar herramientas de comunicación satelital y monitorear condiciones ambientales como el calentamiento global.
El científico de la NASA, Matthew A. Mickens, experto en cultivo de alimentos en el espacio, investiga cómo la microgravedad impacta el crecimiento y la calidad de las plantas. Su trabajo busca garantizar la alimentación de futuras misiones a la Luna y Marte, mientras desarrolla soluciones que también pueden mejorar la agricultura sostenible aquí en la Tierra.
I'm a plant scientist at NASA, and I look at plants all the time. I look at them everywhere I go because it's ingrained in me to do so. But it's a lot of fun, you know, especially when I can fully understand what it is I'm eating. My name is Dr. Matthew A. Mickens. My title is Space Crop Production Project Scientist. I support the science required to ensure that our astronauts have fresh food during or while exploring environments where fresh food is not available. For instance, when we go to Mars, we're actually going to ship the food ahead of us. The food can be on the Martian surface for as long as 5 years before the astronauts even arrive. And it's already been scientifically shown that certain nutrients inside the packaged diet degrade over time. Microgreens have tons of nutrients and can be a supplement for the packaged diet. Any leafy green crop can be a microgreen. It's just basically you harvest it sooner. For instance, this is garnet giant mustard microgreens. These are 6 days old. And so the idea is that microgreens can be a crop for space because they grow quick, but also because it provides an assortment of options for astronauts. Plants and space crops can also be leveraged as a source of life support. They do transpire water vapor into the environment, and so we can actually reclaim that water. They also are a source of oxygen. And so at a high enough density, plants can be used to regenerate the atmosphere, either in a space transit vehicle or a surface habitat. It's hard to quantify, but there's a psychological benefit of having something green and fresh growing in an environment that's harsh and unforgiving. And I believe that the astronauts could contest to this as well, is that having a piece of Earth with them on missions helps their psychological well-being, so that it actually contributes to success. My expertise is light recipes using LEDs. I study how you can use the color of the light to impact not only the growth of the plant, but also the shape of the plant, how fast it grows, and even the flavor of the plant. All of these can be influenced by the ratios of the colors that you provide for it. The other technology I'm working on is this seed film technology. And this film is actually dissolvable in water. And so as soon as this gets wet, it activates the process of germination immediately. But not only that, but this is a safe way to handle seeds. When there's no gravity, it keeps them all in one place. It's also a very good way for storing the seeds. And then of course, the deployment on a substrate would be very simple for astronauts to utilize. When I got my undergrad bachelor's degree in environmental science, I was like, okay, what now? And it was actually my thesis advisor. He told me, he said, Matt, you can work at NASA if you want to. And I was like, really? I'm not trying to be an astronaut. He was like, you don't have to be. There's a whole host of other things that support astronauts. And that actually started my whole NASA journey. My path that led me to NASA started with my master's degree research and my first NASA grant, which was with the North Carolina Space Grant Consortium. When I was working on my PhD, I applied for another grant, and it sponsored a summer where I could actually choose any NASA center of my choosing for an internship experience. And so that summer experience is where I actually met the family at NASA that's in food production. And that kind of kick-started my role in controlled environment agriculture. And it was love at first sight. But my path to NASA was not straight at all. After the postdoc, actually, NASA did not choose to hire me, so I actually left for a little bit, went to the private industry sector, and that's usually the case with a lot of things that are worth obtaining in life. There are detours, there are closed doors, so in due time, the opportunity came open and I was ready for it, and I took advantage. Advice that I would give to students who want to work at NASA: you can be cut out for anything that you have a passion for. Something that will make you want to wake up in the morning when you're tired. Find something that you like and go after it.
Ken Muffin es miembro de la junta directiva de la National Space Society, una organización internacional sin fines de lucro dedicada a inspirar y educar al público sobre el presente y futuro de la exploración espacial. En la entrevista, Ken nos cuenta cómo surgió esta sociedad, sus programas más destacados, como los concursos dirigidos a estudiantes para diseñar hábitats espaciales, y por qué es clave despertar la pasión por el espacio en todas las generaciones.
My name is Ken Ruffin. I am on the board of directors of the National Space Society. That's a nonprofit organization for educational outreach about space. I am a space communicator who contracts with organizations within the space industry to inform audiences of the public about the present and future of space travel. The National Space Society is a nonprofit organization based in the United States, but it's actually an international organization. There are members all over the world. There are National Space Society, and the purpose being for educational outreach to inform the public about the latest information and future of space travel. And people living and working in space in the future. As much as that might sound like science fiction, it's people have been living in space now on the International Space Station for almost 25 years. So it's already a fact of people living, different groups of people living and working continuously in space. The National Space Society really doesn't do projects. There's continuous outreach of providing information about space to the public through a variety of different means. And there are 7 different contests. So the best way to find out if anyone is interested in participating in the contest is to go to the National Space Society website. Also, there's outreach through a quarterly magazine called Ad Astra, which is Latin for To the Stars, a quarterly magazine published by National Space Society and distributed to all National Space Society members. There's a bi-weekly newsletter that is distributed to all members. There's usually on Thursdays, maybe twice a month, there's a virtual panel discussion where someone is interviewed to discuss something ongoing in the space industry. And there are also the local chapters, dozens of local chapters across the United States and around the world, which within particular metropolitan areas provide information to the public about space, usually at museums, planetariums, schools, libraries, and through other nonprofit organizations as the guest speaker for other nonprofits.
Muchas gracias por ser parte de Iberoamérica en órbita. Este espacio de aprendizaje no sería posible sin la colaboración y plataformas de los socios de ATI y las agencias informativas AFP, EFE, Xinhua y la Deutsche Welle. Para saber más sobre el espacio y otras historias, encuéntranos en la web como noticiasnsc.com y en las redes sociales nos encuentras como @NSC Iberoamérica, en X, Facebook, Instagram y Dailymotion. Yo soy Ana Cristina Olvera y nos vemos en el siguiente episodio Entre las Estrellas.